Professor E. Rama Mohan Rao, Vice Chairman, of the State Council of Higher Education. We welcome Professor Rama Mohan Rao. Thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure interacting with you. So, your thought on the Andhra Pradesh higher education perspective. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Savik Goswami and other resource persons present here. I'm very happy to be part of this discussion. And the theme that you have picked up is really contemporary and relevant to the present day needs. We know that the technology disruption that is taking place in the world is massive and unprecedented, making all the educational institutions and the entire education ecosystem to transform in such a way that which is far distant from the existing system. So the hybrid learning model that is being proposed, and it became a necessity now to face the challenges that are being created with the dawn of industrial revolution 4.0 and the kind of demands that we are getting from industry, business, and all other sectors to meet to the needs, educational needs of the youngsters and also all the citizens of the world. So we cannot confine to the traditional mode of learning and traditional methods of teaching and learning processes. We have to now make the system more flexible, more accessible, more personalized, more outcome based, more employable, and make the student facilitating upskilling, upgrading their thing, and also provide a lifelong learning to the aspirants, whoever they may be. So, such a system is required for us, and we have to move towards that direction. And in that direction, one option is development of digital campuses. It is highly desirable one because there are many organizations, they have studied and published reports which is very clearly establishing the fact that in future there should be digital based learning processes, otherwise the education becomes irrelevant. And the job market is changing very widely, and we may say altogether a different kind of employment situation, particularly the gig workforce that we are talking about. So solopreneurship, so individual skill say enhancement and development, each individual becoming a market by himself. These kind of changes the education sector has to support, and this support can be done only by introducing changes say beyond our say conventional models. So the pandemic of course made us to learn many things, and almost they forced us to jump from one level to the another level. And many institutions in the country could able to cope up with that change, but significant part of the country could not able to cope up with the change, and they still remain say not accessible to the technology that is say available today. So we have to see some complexities in the process. So if you want to convert a campus into a digital campus, and then we should say expect that the campus is a residential campus, then the digital infrastructure that is there can be exploited to the maximum by the students. So if the educational institutions cannot have the residential capacity, hostel capacity, the digital campus will serve partially. That is one thing. The second thing is the ability of the institutions, how they can convert their campuses into digital campuses. So where to begin and how many we can translate into to say, transform into digital campuses is again a question. So the financial support that is required to convert the existing campuses into digital campuses is another big challenge. And we have almost 70% of the higher educational institutions in the private sector, and all the private sector institutions are not financially viable institutions. That we have to recognize and realize. And another important factor is the digital divide that we have, the accessibility of the internet and the bandwidth of the internet and the instruments to use internet for the accessing the learning resources. They are all very very limited in percentages. We can find very poor percentage in that. And during the pandemic, 62% of the schools or colleges could not able to reach the online classes and programs. That speaks volumes about the digital infrastructure that we are talking about. So unless some infrastructural arrangements, investments are made, we cannot introduce in full form the hybrid learning process. See, for that, there are many changes that we have to make it out. One is we have to reform the curricular aspects, the design and development of curriculum, wherein the blended learning need to be integrated into, and we should have the reliable, qualified resources for e-content. Of course, we have Swayam, NPTEL, and like some sources through which we are getting some qualitative input. But there is a problem in that. The input is highly qualitative, but the access of the input to the people of different levels of understanding capabilities is again a question mark. So the high quality content need to be retranslated, and as per NEP 2020 we have to make it translated into regional languages coupled with the English. And this is a big exercise that we have to do to implement the hybrid learning process more effectively. And then we have to redefine the implementation of the programs that we have been working out. Say, for example, now we have made 75% attendance is compulsory to write the examinations. And when you make 40% blended and only 60% in the conventional programs, then how this 40% is worked out for the attendance purposes? So you have to redefine your attendance requirement policy. You have to redefine your evaluation policy, your credit policy, and credit transfer policy. And you should have the kind of say e-content that is available. So many corporates are jumping into the field, they are developing e-content, and whether the e-content is really helping the students to enrich themselves. So student time is very important for us. So we cannot say flood with a lot of information resources to the student, and the institution and teaching faculty has to help the students to identify right resources and economize the time of the student to get high quality learning. So this is the kind of system that is required in teaching curricular aspects, in teaching learning process, and in providing student support, and in developing infrastructure. These are all the key areas for which we have to work on very seriously to see that a transformed education system is present in this country. But
Right.
one thing that we have to decide is that we have to move forward. We cannot be pessimistic. We cannot give up things, and we have to move forward, if possible, in a phased manner. The phases should not take more time, they should take only limited time to go one by another. So, and the first phase, in my opinion, all the universities and all the public sector institutions should be converted into the digital campuses. So, for that, because I believe that in a country like India, the government should take the first lead. They should set examples to the private sector that this is how you can go forward. So converting the universities and converting the colleges owned by the governments, because government only can expand to that extent, into e-campuses and provide the digital support that is required by these students, that makes the first leap forward. In this process, I would like to say put forward the decision that is taken by the government of Andhra Pradesh. They wanted to supply to all the students laptops, laptops right from standard 8th, yet free of cost. So they have introduced a scheme called Amma Odi, wherein the mothers are paid 15,000 to 20,000 per month, per year, not per month, per year, for sending their children to the schools as a resource which they foregone because of sending the students to the institutions. Now, the government is asking the mothers that you use 1 year amount for providing a laptop to your kid, so that the student at the ward can catch up to the changing needs of the society. So that is how we wanted, say, out of 14 lakh students in the state, believe me, 11 lakhs are availing the 100% fee reimbursement,
लिखा फिर लिखा मीटिंग में यार.
and also the annual scholarship of 20,000. 100% fee reimbursement and 20,000 per annum. 11 lakh students are receiving, and now for 11 lakh students, the government wanted to supply the laptops. That is one major step the government is taken to bridge the gap of digital divide. So when students are equipped with the instruments through which they can say access internet and resources, then of course this hybrid model can be executed very effectively. So that is one important step in which the central government also should encourage the state governments by liberal funding to reach this kind of activity. And then another say point I would like to put forward is that the digital campus helps effective governance by keeping all transactions, all activities transparent, and also a speedy process of things. So of late we could see that the students are waiting for the results months together. If the processes are digitalized, you can make it very quickly the results of it. And now the examination process is taking a lot of time, and the proctored online examinations, if it replaces with the conventional examination system, it saves a lot of time of the student. and also it helps the institution or the system to continuously evaluate and monitor the progress of the students, and also help the students to learn whether he is up to the level of acquiring a particular skill that is mandated. So whatever the outcomes that are designed, you can easily translate into evaluation system, and students can also know what kind of skills they are having and to what extent their capabilities are. This is one another addition if you convert a campus into a digital campus.
Right,
And
sir. Right.
yeah,
So if
yeah,
you can kindly conclude in a minute or so, yeah.
yeah. So we need to have a resolve to take the things forward towards digitalization of education, because the world is demanding, and the education 4.0 is driving us towards integration of digitalization process in the education system. And unless we do this, we may not be able to say produce the students who can deliver right kind of goods to the country and to the world. And I would like to remind again and again that India has a huge young population, and we can say convert them as demographic dividend only when we can equip them with all skills and help them to learn themselves, upskill themselves, and learn how to continuously upgrade their skills. That kind of learning environments, if not formally joining in a educational institution and getting it, but through identifying or establishing such an institutions which can recognize the credits that the people are having it and award a certification. So that kind of system we have to develop and promote, nurture and promote. Then only we can say see that India progressing, Indian youth playing vital role in the global scenario, and they can promote high level of productivity and produce in this country. So thank you
Right.
very much for giving me this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you so much, Professor K. Rama Mohan Rao, Vice Chairman, Andhra Pradesh State Council of Higher Education. It is always enlightening to hear you and learn from you. You always give a holistic picture of the overall aspects of building a quality higher education ecosystem, and especially the line which you have said today that uh, digital campuses will be a great example of good governance as well. Thank you so much, Professor K. Rama Mohan Rao. Now